Welcome to Eye on the Illini. We have a interesting show coming up. Ket is just a minute or two from jumping on. Of course, we also have Brad Sturdy, who will be on later. Let's go and take a look at what we have with the box score, folks. And this is where it gets really rough. And you notice in the right hand corner here, Michigan State went on a 15-0 run in the last 6:58 of the game. So obviously, you take that 15-0 run, Illinois was up by 1. 17-2 run over the last 8:55 of the game. Illinois was 0 for their last 19 on field goals and 2 for their last 22. So just brutal, a scoring drought of the last 8 minutes and 29 seconds totally doomed the Illini. And folks, Illini got out rebounded. They were up at the half and got out rebounded 41-36. The Illini shot horrifically, which is what happens pretty much almost every game. And they really just struggled, gave up 21 points off of turnovers. They only got 10 themselves off of it. And just a game that they really looked sluggish offensively, had a hard time doing much of anything. And so as you look at this, if it was not, in my opinion, if it wasn't for Morez Johnson having some moments on the offensive end, I'm not certain how the Illini would have scored tonight. Kat, I'm going to go into a little bit of a diatribe here, but when you're a coach, what happens on the court is really two things: what you coach a team to do and what you allow them to do. And when you are in the bonus early in the second half, Michigan State fans who never complain about the referees were complaining how unfair it was for the Illini to be in the bonus. And then you refuse to shoot from inside the arc. Ted, I got to be honest with you. I'm tired of this analytics crap. Look, the 3-point shot is a double-edged sword of the sharpest type. Because yes, you can destroy people when you're hot with the 3-point shot. But you can also destroy yourself with the 3-point shot when you're not. So Illinois was turning over the ball. They did a better job in the second half, ironically, but they were turning over the ball, giving up 21 fast break points, and then you're throwing up bricks, which allows additional points. It's just, I don't know. At some point, you got to coach the team and say, guys, we're going to go inside, or I want a pass to go into the lane before we shoot a three or something. At some point, you can't just bail out and say, players got to make the shots. I can't make the shots for them. At some point, you got to react to what the defense does. And then on the other end of the ball, Michigan State is not a good shooting team. Why go over Pitt? I'd let him shoot. Jackson Kohler had a good first half, and he played decent in the second half. But for the most part, I'd let him shoot from out there. Let Fears shoot the jump shots. Let him break the bank board. I don't understand on either end. The some of the strategies just really made me angry. And I don't blame the players, because you do what your coach coaches you to do, or you do what he allows you to do. So if you don't want the 3-point shots, you sit some people down. They stop shooting threes. All right, kid. I'm
Well,
done.
first, I want to apologize for being late. One of my pet peeves is I cannot stand when people, if I text someone, you don't respond back to me. I can't stand that. So I was late because I was responding to people because I didn't want them to think that I was blowing them off. I don't big league people. That's not who Kedric is. But I'll tell you, there's some really, really mad fans right now. I don't care what the Michigan State fans have to say. What are they complaining about? It was a great game. We talked about it at halftime, the way the officials called the game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was surprised to hear you say they complained about it. I don't have, and I'm one of the most negative media members in the world when it comes to officiating. I had no problem with it. Yeah, they missed a couple calls. I don't care. That didn't cost them the game. It did not cost Illinois the
Oh,
game.
the refs had nothing to do with it. I mean,
Nothing.
good
They
God,
didn't.
Michigan State turned up the defense and got more turnovers, and Illinois decided to shoot threes, and which they can't hit. We've seen that all year round. Look, Denny Green said it best: "You are what the numbers say you are." And the bottom line is, this isn't a good shooting team. They're the
It's
worst
not.
in the Big Ten at the three, and they shoot more than anybody else. At some point, you got to figure it damn out.
Mike, they launched, I don't know, I missed the first few minutes, 7 for 33 tonight. 7 for 33. Now, I don't, you got to tell me with these stats. They didn't score for the last, 8 minutes and 29 seconds on the clock. They missed 19 straight field goal attempts or something like that. I think I saw, Mike, I'm sorry. And what I don't want to hear anymore, I'm not going to respond to it. So if you tweet at me, or even if you're one of my dearest, besties, homies, about I want the Big Ten tournament to start, NCAA tournament to start because we have all this talent, miss me with that shit because I don't care. That's irrelevant. Because if you think a Murray State or somebody like that is going to care about how many NBA draft prospects you have in your roster, how much talent, they don't care. They don't. And it's what's hard for me right now is that this game was fun to watch. Both teams were getting after it. They were laying it on the line. That sequence when Marez fell on his hand, just as a college basketball fan of the game, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the X's and O's. If there was one thing that I'm really upset about, and I understand the rules, so don't tweet or text me like I don't know. The goaltending call on KJ, when I first saw the replay, I knew it wasn't a goaltend.
Yep,
But
I agree.
they waited so long, and I know it has to be when there's a break, but they waited so long because if you look at that stretch, every team, they were trading baskets. And you just took 2 points off the board for Illinois, so their whole strategy changed. I didn't like that, and I don't like it, and I still don't. I just think the way the players started to play after that, I thought it was strange, and it was under the 4-minute mark to make it even worse. Other than that, I could care less about it. Illinois has their own problems to figure out. I noticed Trey White didn't play tonight. Javon Gibbs Lawhorn only got 3 minutes. I don't know if the rotation. And if you look at the minutes, Rickhouse got 31 minutes, Boswell 29, and I don't want to repeat this if you went over it. I'm sorry. I'll just say KJ.
No, go ahead.
KJ was 37. How in the world in Division I basketball, and I'm going to say this kindly because I don't want to get in trouble, if my team that I'm coaching misses that many shots in a row, I'll be damned if I don't draw something up to get me a layup or something. That's not going to happen. It's just not. And if my teams are chucking up threes, and if I don't know if they're saying that they shouldn't, I'm not there, and I'm not going to sit and pretend that I'm a coach on that staff because maybe they are telling them that. I don't know. But if my kids did that crap, they're sitting on the bench. They were just launching threes and launching them in it, and they're great if they're going in. Michigan State's not a good three-point shooting team either. They're worse than Illinois. Now, maybe not after tonight.
They only took 12, though. Look,
Yeah.
the bottom line is you take the opportune ones. And then, like I said, the issue is, Ked, is even like on the baseline when guys would get passes from the inside to the base and they're shooting a baseline three, shoulders are square, ball comes from the lane, brick. And at some point, you just got to say, okay, we're not making these tonight. Let's do something different.
I said that last time. Just dribble in.
We've said that.
Yes.
We're getting sore throat. We're getting achy throats.
You know the shot that I think that was the dagger for me when I thought they were done. They were up by 1 or 2. KJ drove the baseline and kicked it out to Ivisic when he was wide open. On a normal day, he makes that shot. When he missed that shot, I thought there's no way. And then I don't remember which player it was for Michigan State. He does a curl cut at the free throw line. The ball hits the back of the rim, not the backboard, and just rolls in.
Yeah.
I thought when I see things like that happening, I'm like, it's just not a good sign. So kudos to Michigan State. You know what?
They outplayed Illinois from the 31-15 mark. You can see that there. They outscored Illinois 64-34.
But Mike, what I won't say is this, and I'm trying not to be negative. The Illinois kids played hard.
I agree.
I
Illinois,
mean,
like
they
I see
did.
these comments that this team is soft. I don't think they're soft, but I do think they're being allowed to do bad. They're being allowed to play bad basketball.
Mike, put those comments on the board. I want to see some of those. I want to start commenting on some of those.
No, we'll get some.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get. Let's see. There's a few of them here that. No, there's not. It's just. We had a ton of them just come rolling in.
Okay, good.
The team was tired at the end, and you got Gibbs, Lawhorn, and Trey White sitting around doing nothing. People are concerned about his health. And then we get the softest team in a long time. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. These guys have come from behind multiple times. They play hard. If you're going to tell me Morez Johnson's soft, I'm going to tell you, say it to his face. And I'll be honest with you, these guys, they're going out there doing effort. I just think at some point you've got to be directed. And as a coach, you have to get them to do what you want them to do. And if somebody's got to be the coach and somebody's got to be the player.
Well, I'll tell you this. For the team itself, the overall team, they are soft. Individually, there's some BA kids out there. This team, last year, nothing we can do about it. They had that guy, a couple of guys that just refused to lose. When you punched them in the mouth, they went for the kill. They went back and they retaliated. This is a finesse group of basketball players that they're not tough. And I'm going to tell you, Michigan State was the tougher team down the stretch. The 50-50 balls, they just would knock you over to go get them. And I just don't.
But you know what?
Yes.
Ked, remember you saw a few people were telling me, like, you don't know what you're talking about when this team doesn't deliver the knockout punch. Illinois had an opportunity to deliver the knockout punch in the first half.
Yep.
They're up 31-15, and that's exactly what I meant. And then we start getting the fiddle fart around, and we're going to shoot the threes, and we're not going to keep going inside.
Turnover.
Turnover bugs, and they were playing well, and they had a chance to end this game. They could have ended this game before the half even started. But you let them back in. And then we talked about this at halftime. If I was Michigan State, I'd be 4 points down on the road and Akins hasn't scored yet. I'd have been confident going into the half.
So would I. And here's the other thing. Again, this is the third team. I remember Nebraska was one. The other one slips me. They gave them the 3-point shots. That's what I thought I would have done against Michigan State, except for Kohler. Let them shoot it. And they let Illinois shoot the ball. That's why they got people understand this. They got 33 threes off. That's a tongue twister. A lot of those came late, a few of them, but for the most part, why do you think you're open? You can't shoot it. And at the end of the day, I might be honest with you, I'm not even mad about it anymore. I'm not. I just know I'm reading my Twitter, and this time I have to agree with the fans. I really do. I feel bad because anything can happen once you get going in the tournament. But right now, again, don't tell me what this team can do or what they're supposed to do because they're talented. They're just not. And I feel bad because I know coaches are frustrated, but they're making the decisions, and either you like it, don't like it, don't watch, support them. I can't tell you what to do. Most people listening to this podcast, they're grown adults. I'm being really nice right now because I'm telling you, I'm frustrated. I'm really mad. I'm just not going to blow up and say something stupid that I regret, but I'm going to tell you, if you really want to know what I think, you text me and I'm going to tell you because I'm not happy right now.
I will say one thing. Against Michigan State, I would have just packed in a 2-3. There's no shame in that, and I don't understand it. But I would have packed in a 2-3 and man, Fears at one point, hit that bank board so hard with a jump shot. I think that the bank board was intimidated. Good Lord, that thing hit. And guys, it went like this when it hit. It was a brick and a half. And why are you going to go out on any of those guys? And again, Illinois is shooting just as bad. So like you said, I would be out on the court daring Illinois guys to shoot. I'd be like, dude, do it. You can't shoot. Go ahead. I'll let you shoot. I'm not going to block it. Shoot. And I would keep saying that until
they prove it
comes.
Yes. There's all of 19, 2 for 22 from the last field, 8 29 was the last. Come on, man. I just
This is
Mike,
what people were
no.
mad about, Ked. They were
Yes,
Michigan State fans, the ones who never complain about refs. They're like, "This is bullshit." The Illini have 12 minutes left. They're in the bonus. The refs are screwing us,
Mike.
and it's maybe the refs were, but my goodness, Illinois didn't do anything to take advantage of it, other than Morez, who was like a one-man gang in there. But you could take a look at the plus minus because Illinois played so poorly. Morez was at -17, but the whole team was bad. The best player on the team was Hum Rickhouse at -2. I will say, other than the 3-point shooting, I think the rest of his game is coming around. He's actually getting block shots. He's actually rebounding. But when you've got a guy who is 0 for 6, I mean, his booty ball, he was 3 for 4 on booty ball shots. But why not do that more often?
I know. Instead of being 3 for 10 from the field, Mike.
Yeah.
Why? Listen to me, buddy. I don't. Oh, Kedric. Okay, be good here. I don't give a shit what the Michigan State fans think. Why?
No, I'm just using it for a reference.
No, just hang on. Why bitch about that when Illinois just went up to East Lansing and everybody in the country, local and national media, saw what happened to KJ, and then you want to come down and you got the win. Take it. I applaud you for it, and I'm not mad because your team played and they deserve to win tonight. But don't complain about officiating when KJ played a negative 14 seconds up when he was in East Lansing. It wasn't a bad officiating. Illinois got you know how those fouls happen? They gave the ball to Morez Johnson. That's how they got, because no one else attacked KJ. I take that back. He did attack the basket and he did try to go to the free throw line a couple times, but for the most part, I mean, because if you look at it, let's see here. Morez Johnson 5 for 7 and KJ was 5 for 5. That's it. So, and they were going to the basket. What are you complaining about? So I don't care what they think. And I went at it with them on Twitter. I'm going to take it. As long as you don't make it personal, I'm going to take it, because guess what? This happened and there's nothing I can do about it. The coaches, I don't coach the team. Michigan State 15-0 run, 17-2 run. You tell me that you feel good about this, and for the love of who, when they go to Madison, they might be in trouble. And if they go to Duke and do this, oh my gosh, Mike, you're talking about maybe a 9 or 10 seed.
Well, the bottom line is this team has a template. When they play inside out, they're a pretty good team. When they rely on the three, they've had, 2 good nights this season. And so I guess you can bank that you're going to have 6 in a row when you get into the tournament. But if they play inside out, they're a fine team. They can't do that for more than 10 minutes at a time.
So why do you? I wouldn't have confidence in them. If they're not going to do what you just said, then I'll tell you, I wouldn't bet my house on it. What you just said is right. So why would you feel good about the rest of the season, or maybe the possible what they could do in the tournament? Because I'm telling you, they're going to end up playing somebody really good. If they go 1 and out, oh my gosh, that could be the worst thing could happen. And then you look at what's going to happen.
Well, here's a bait. Can you hear anything, dude? Stop complaining about the refs. The problem's coaching. Who complained about the refs? What an idiot. We just said they got outplayed in every phase of the ball. Get the crap out of your ears, or at least whatever thoughts you're hearing in your brain. Try to at least let them be what we say, not whatever's rattling around in there. Good Lord.
Mike, you know what I do for another job, and I want to be politically correct here. That comment shows that there's some special people in this world. Okay, just leave it at that, because nobody said that fish ain't had a damn thing to do with the game. If you can't read, I get it, but I know damn well if you can't listen, you should get a hearing aid, because no one said that.
Okay, now this one. Okay, Ken, you want to deal with some talk?
Let's go.
Are. This is yours, Brad. This is yours, Ken.
From Mitch?
Yes, from Mitch.
That's not happening. Mitch, that is not going to happen. If they make a change, somebody may quit, which I don't see happening. I really don't. Maybe they may make another one assistant hire. And people were wondering why Tim Anderson was in the house tonight. Tim Anderson is 90% responsible for why Terrence Shannon was there. He wasn't there for Jeremy Fears or Jeremy Fears Jr. or Sr. He was there for Terrence Shannon Jr. because he did a lot of work to get that kid there. When Terrence was going through hell, screwing around with Satan, Tim never wavered, and he did his job. Mitch, I don't see it happening, buddy. Maybe one guy, but I don't think Orlando or anybody like that you're going to see leave, or Jeff. I don't see that happening.
I don't know if I want. I like Orlando. I think he's a good coach. So I guess I'm not particularly looking for Orlando to leave. But I, but I do think when you're going to ask about that if a team doesn't do well, and the other part is is when you've got this many new pieces, it's hard to get it all to gel. And if you look at the portal, that looks like that's the wave of the future for Illini basketball. So they're going to have to figure out how you get 5 or 6 really good players to play well. And then you also have to figure out if people think the Trey White situation is going to be used against you in the future. Now, here's one that I totally disagree with. I got to be honest with you. John Shire has the best freaking roster in the country. He plays in the ACC, which for the first time in my lifetime sucks. Basically, basically Duke is now Gonzaga, where they have 2 tough conference games all year long, and then they just try not to. They got to get used to playing real teams when they play in the preseason or when it's NCAA time. I don't know that John Shire can coach circles around anybody, but he's got a great roster, so he can play like he's a great coach. I had the same issue with Ryan Day, and Ryan Day's won a national title, so I called off the dogs on him. But no offense, Brad, but Brad, you, I, or Ked would look like a pretty good coach with the Duke roster. Look, I'm not saying that Shire's a bad coach. I'm just saying that I'm not certain he's going to coach circles around anybody, but he can run talent around people. Ked, you got any thoughts on that?
I just want to make one comment. Shauna Green, the pressure's on tomorrow, baby. You got to deliver a win tomorrow.
We had on Twitter, I can't put the Twitter comments on here, but somebody said basically that he would be all for putting Shauna Green in control of the men's team because he thought then they would be a Final Four team.
But to answer your question, Mike, sorry, I
Yeah,
had
Shauna's going to be like, oh, good.
No, because she's great at X's and O's coach. I'm not saying the only coaches aren't. I'm not going to go there. But John Shire does have a talented roster. But Mike, so does Illinois. They do
I agree.
too. I'm not going to say they
It's not
don't.
Duke, though. Let's face it, it's not Duke.
You know what, though? Let me ask you something. You got 2 guys that are going to be in the top 5 in the NBA draft. Ivisic is as good as the big fellow from Duke. I forget his name. There's some other holes that Illinois has. They just can't figure it out, and they're not horrible shooters, Mike. The talent, because no matter what happens, and I think KJ played pretty well tonight. Tim Anderson is not coming back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm sorry, guys, and I don't. That's not happening. Unfortunately, I don't. You can put this all on Twitter because it's going to fly all over the place. And just so people know when they say, okay, you know what the hell you're talking about. Tim's my friend. I text him today. So for you people to sit here and say, Kid, you're wrong, you don't know this, I'm just going to sit here and talk to this guy today and we hang out and talk whatever, but I'm just going to just make up lies on a podcast and Twitter when he can see it. What is this? No way 32 is in the top.
Well,
what is that?
Illinois fans have a hard time understanding what guys are looking for in the NBA draft. Harry Carey, years ago, used to have a saying. He would get on the air and he'd be like, potential's a French word that means you ain't done do yet. I'll tell you what, they draft on potentials. They're looking at KJ saying, all right, he's 6'6", he can shoot, and he can see the whole court and he can make incredible passes. We can take him and we can turn him into something, especially when you think when they get in the NBA, there's no 20-hour-a-week limit. You can get these guys and now they're a full-time job practicing, etc. So they look at 32. Top 5, let's see how the season plays out. But I would guess that something radical would have to happen for him to drop down below 10. He is a lottery pick, period.
Brandon, I understand because I don't like it either. That's why I don't watch the NBA. And I'm not saying that I would draft him in the top 5. I heard a radio show this morning, and it may have been one in Champaign, I'm not for sure. They talked about the NBA draft, and they talked about the first 16 or 17 kids. Every one of those kids were freshmen. KJ's no different. KJ struggled, and he was and all draft boards are different. He was 3rd at one point. Then he dropped to 6 or 7. Now he's back in the top 4 or 5 again. So I understand the frustration because the NBA, Mike's 100% right. It's youth and everything is based off potential. Because I think personally, Not this. We're talking about KJ. I even use Jeremiah Fears. That kid's going to be drafted in the top 10, and I know damn there's 5 other college basketball players better than him and KJ both. But they're 19, 20, 21 years old. They're going to draft guys who are young, which is why a lot of the fans are mad about Terrence Shannon sitting. He's 22, 23 years old, and he's sitting. The league is getting older. That was one of the knocks on Io because he was old. That's the way they look at it. So I'm not saying that I would do it, but I can tell you this. If he slides past the top 10, I would be truly amazed because there's teams still following him around. Whether we like it or not, he's going to be a lottery pick.
And look, I got no problem with the way KJ plays. I think
I do.
He's a freshman. The turnovers are high, but he's a freshman, and that's the difference is in the past. You knew that like Derek Harper made some rough plays as a freshman, or Bruce Douglas. You knew they were going to be there at least 3 years to get better. Nowadays, you know that, okay, they're going to be gone in a year, and you don't get to see them on that journey to develop into that finished player. Think of Darren Williams as a freshman versus Darren Williams as a junior.
And he was going to transfer. He struggled so bad. He was actually going to transfer because it is. And Will Riley's another one. He's starting to come on, and he's starting to play the game, but I'm not being mean. I'm not being negative. I'm calling it like I see it. He's probably going to be an NBA player, but for me, I struggle because it's just one-on-one to me when he gets the ball. He just gets the ball, go between his legs, and he gets a shot up. But again, I'm not an NBA general manager, and people like him. The only NBA games I watch is the Chicago Bulls and the Minnesota when Terrence is playing. Otherwise, I couldn't. When I was a kid, I could tell you every player on every roster. I can't name, excuse me, bad English. I can't name 10 NBA players right now if you ask me. I can't because I don't care. I don't. I'm not a fan. NFL, love it. NBA basketball, it's sour at my taste. I just don't like the way they do because Io should have went higher in the draft. There's no way Terrence Shannon shouldn't have been in the top 20, top 18. So they can do all this youth movement stuff. That's why their ratings are going down because it's not a good brand anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I know there's a lot of people who are attacking Tyler, and I don't know if Tyler's hard for me to say that the one guy is the problem. When you're the coach's son, he is going to attract attention, and he's an easy magnet for saying that. Now, when I've dealt with him, I've had the good fortune of talking to him several times and sitting and watching some basketball games with him in AU. He knows basketball, and he's a guy who thinks about things, and he doesn't just like blurt stuff out. But again, is that the issue? I have a hard time blaming one person for a team struggling unless you just want to put it at the feet of the head coach. And that, to me, that's where the buck stops. I don't know that I could point out and say, this is Orlando's problem or it's Jeff Alexander or whatever. The only one person, if you're going to blame a coach and put it all on their shoulders, unless you see some sort of evidence, you got to make that the head man. I don't know, Ked. How do you feel on that?
I want to disagree just a little bit here because if Tyler was in charge of the offense, look at my Twitter page and look at what you and I text and everybody's talking about. It's the offense. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if he's the offensive coordinator, that's him. Who's ever in charge of defense, whether it's Zach or Orlando or whoever, if you're not guarding, then you own it. If you look at, when the coach makes a decision, I'm just saying, for example, since we're talking about Tyler, if Tyler calls a 3-point shot for Ben-Hum Rickhouse and Brad Underwood see him make that call, then that's when you get up and say, oh, hell no, we're not doing that. Because at the end of the day, it's free reigns. I'm not stupid. You guys see Tyler calling plays on the sidelines. We all see it. I'm not saying that they're right or wrong, bad. I have no opinion because I don't know what they're calling. I know what I see once it happens, but for the most part, I don't know. I can't blame him. People were mad about the defense as well because they couldn't stop Michigan State from curl cutting or they couldn't stop Michigan State from the lob pass. So I do think at the end of the day, and sometimes you see a coach. I think Izzo did it once tonight. He got upset and a coach was going to say something. And I think Brad did it once tonight. I think the assistant coaches wanted to sub someone in and then Brad said no. So at the end of the day, they do have the final say so, Mike. But these assistant coaches, they have a lot more to do with the game than what people think. It's not like it used to be. If you watch a timeout, now, it doesn't happen in Illinois a lot, but most assistant coaches, we're talking about Shawn and Green, I look at that board when it's Antonio or if it's Coach Calamity McIntyre. Yeah, I think she does a lot with the defense as well. I could be wrong, but I see Coach Beasley with that clipboard drawing up plays. Shauna does some, but that's what coaching is now. It's not like it used to be where the head coach did all of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like I said, if you're gonna blame one coach, it's the buck stops at the top guy or gal.
Oh
Doesn't
yeah.
matter whether it's it doesn't matter whether it's Mike Small, it's Brad Underwood, it's Brett Bielma, Shauna Green, you name the coach. That's the person that I tend to do it. But look, as I look at this game, three things that jump out at me was one, why are we shooting so many threes again? Two, we cut down the number of turnovers, so that's good, but there were still some really bad ones. And then the third one is I would have said, you know what, Michigan State, we're going to make you guys shoot over us. And look, and to be honest with you, if I was either team, if I was Tom Izzo or if I was Brad Underwood, I'd have played a 2-3 zone and said, "Look, you guys can't shoot straight. We're gonna give you that all night long, and we're gonna box the hell out of the people. We're just gonna get rebounds, and you're gonna shoot 20%, and we're gonna win."
Mike, you know what? I'm just looking at the stat sheet here. Michigan State they shot 49% from two. I don't know the last time I've seen the team shoot 49% from two, and they shot 42% from three. We're talking about offense. Hell, what about the defense, guys?
Well,
Illinois,
yeah, again,
2%.
but why are you going over? You know what I'm saying? You gave them opportunities in the paint. You gave
Yep.
them, and I don't understand not reacting a little bit to what the team does because ultimately they don't do a lot. But hey, you know what, folks? We got Brad Sturdy who's on deck. But before we go to Brad Sturdy, we are going to take a quick break and give you a one of our sponsors. So we'll be back in 30 seconds.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
All right, we're going to bring Brad Sturdy on. Brad, just so you have a recap, I had a meltdown on the only thing that happens on a court of basketball if you're a coach is what you coach guys to do and what you allow them to do. Ked had a lot of concerns on the offense and the defense. Brad, the team was up 31-15 and ends up losing 79-65. You were on national TV. Tell us your impressions. Brad, are you on? All right, we're going to run through some technical difficulties here. As Brad, we can see Brad, but we cannot hear him. Shoot. All right. We're gonna see if we can get Brad reconnected to get his impressions. People have heard ours. They may or may not agree with us, but we will see. Brad, can you hear us?
I wonder what it is.
All right, he's going to try to reconnect. All right, so now, see, this is what you call building suspense.
That's all good. But you know what, though? Until Brad gets on, you were talking about like your keys to the game. I can't forget about the runs, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. How in college you're going to make a run, and everybody does. But at some point, you got to stop the bleeding. When Michigan State goes 15-0 run, 17-2 run over an 8-minute span or 6 or 7-minute span, and then you go 0 for 19 from your last field goal, a scoring drive of over 8 minutes. You were 2 for 22 from your last field goals. Mike, that is a recipe for L's all day long. I just don't understand at this level and the talent that they have. And I will say this, I thought Tomislav was a little bit healthier than what he was,
Well,
but
it's
I
clear he
don't
didn't
know.
feel good, but it is
No,
what
he
it is.
didn't. I mean, I know.
Guy, unfortunately, fair or unfair, guys play hurt every game to some degree. Now he's playing with a sprained ankle, which is tough, and I'm not complaining about his effort level or anything, but it was definitely a tough night for him based on that. Um, it is what it is. And the good mid-range jumpers, I tell you, I had the same thought Ked did when that semi brick hit the iron between the board and the rim, and then did a little half roll in. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. And sure enough, it came in. It made it really challenging. That was a tough one. Again, as
I'm getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if you are from listeners, but a lot of people are really upset with Draven not playing and Trey White. People are really upset about that. I don't know if you're receiving those thoughts, and I don't know they're not sick. I know that for a fact. They're not sick, so I don't know if they were asked in the press conference tonight what was going on with that, but they're not sick. The drop coverage stuff kills Illinois when teams have good. Yes, that's exactly you, Patio D. You're 100% right, because here's why. Michigan State shot 49% from them. You're exactly right. If teams are going to be good at it, and I give Tom Izzo credit, they're not a good three-point shooting team, but he damn well makes sure that they can get 15-foot shots where they're effective at. Jimmy Jackson made fun of that out-of-bounds play. It works. Who cares? It works.
Yeah, no, that's it. Now, here's one that I think is okay. NIT or the Crown Tournament. Let's hope not. Things really have to collapse for that to happen. Yeah, drop coverage is the equivalent to Tampa 2. Yeah, that's because now they're playing the safety over in the NFL, the single safety over. So, yeah, I guess the Tampa 2. But where's Lovey when we need him?
They need more than Lovey right now. This is what's hard, guys, is that fans are having a hard time watching this. See, St. Dominic is not going to say anything with that, Mike. I'm too close to the program. So if you want to go ahead and comment on that.
I tell you what, I don't know who's going to do what at the end of the year. You hear the dangest things one way or the other. You just wait and see. But I do think one of the things that's most concerning is that if you're into the portal for 5 or 6 guys every year, that's fine because it can work. But you also can't have many misses. So if you're going to be in the portal for 4 to 5, 6 guys every season, you better hit Bing every time. It better be like Jimmy Johnson when he was drafting for the Dallas Cowboys. You can't have Jimmy Johnson who was drafting for the Miami Dolphins. You got to hit it. Now, here's one that I think was really true, that the Illinois played better at Breslin. Ted, what the heck has gone on with Illinois' home court advantage?
This is what I meant by being not tough. I won't use the word soft. Illinois, I don't know if they played better. What happened at the Breslin Center? Will Riley put them on his back and they went to work. That was the difference. They didn't have that tonight. Illinois, this team doesn't understand, they've been very successful over the years. And everybody's going to come in and you're going to get their best shot all the time. And I don't know if this team is tough enough to understand that. I don't mean or strong enough mentally to understand it. Like I said to you, I will say this. I'm going to give Morez Johnson some credit. He is tough enough. Morez plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he plays like that guy that this team misses. As much as I love Tomislav Ivicic, he's not a physical guy. How about go get the ball in the basket and dunk the son of a bitch? Because they don't do it. That's just not who they are. Terrence Shannon would break your arm if he had a chance to do that. You know what I'm saying to you? Marcus Domas would back you so far down, and with the booty ball, you were at his mercy. This group is nice, and it's okay to have nice guys, but I'm going to tell you, playing against Tom Izzo, that's not going to work. And I said to you, when they go to Madison, Wisconsin, because Wisconsin hasn't beat Illinois in a while, if they have a chance to beat them by 50, expect it to happen because it's probably going to.
Yeah, otherwise, maybe you can get Joe Boo to heal Tomislav's ankle because they're going to need him to be playing very tough. And
they're just too nice, Mike. I'm sorry, buddy, cut you off. They're just too nice.
Look, does everybody ever do a full court defense and trap? Please, God, with the lateral movement of a few of the Illini players, I would not want to see them in a full court defense. I don't know about you, kid.
But you know what? If you can't guard a man-to-man, I understand what he's saying. 2-2-1, 1-2-2 diamond. I'm not saying you just panic. What Brad Underwood is not going to do, and any coach, you don't just try everything, because then you look weak and you look like you're not confident in what you're doing. Would I do some things differently? Sure, but I'm not going to just throw in the towel with every single thing.
Brad, you were there. You got to see it. We've had our moments of, I don't know if you could hear when I was trying to bring you on last time, but I go back to there's two things that happen in coaching. One is what you coach them to do, and two is what you allow them to do. Ked is not happy with the defense or the offense. You got a really close view of watching the Illini go from up 31-15 to losing a game 79-65. Take it away.
Yeah, it was awful. That's one of the worst performances I've ever seen, and that includes Weber and Gross era when we had some bad games. That was right up there with the it's right up there with the 38-33 game in the way it was awful. And I know it wasn't 38-33, but it was 64-34 for the last 28 minutes. They missed 19 consecutive shots to end the game. They keep shooting threes, and I just don't understand it. And it makes no sense. And you can say you got guys over there. If you're telling them not to shoot threes, but the weird part about it is after the game, he was fine with most of the threes. He really was. He's fine with the ones that Hummerkaus said. He's fine with ones Ivasic took. And I'm not saying they weren't wide open, but at the same time, like, I talked to Jimmy Jackson after the game, and I said, Illinois is going to live and die by the three. And he goes, here's the deal. He goes, you do what you're allowed to do by their coaching staff and the defense. And it's just that simple. The coaching staff allows them to shoot threes, and the coaching staff, and the opposing team is like, hey, we're not going to close out too hard, because why would we? They're going to keep chucking even when they're 1 for 16 in the second half. So yeah, when they play inside out, they're really good. When they don't, they're really bad. But on the other end, they also didn't guard at all after the first 12 minutes. In the first 12 minutes, they played some fantastic defense. Really did a good job making them take tough shots. They were dominating the boards, really playing solid, tough. And then they basically made a couple adjustments and hit a couple shots, and Illinois just lost everything. And I still don't understand some of the things they do offensively, like why they do what they do. And I would have to sit with them and go over film, because so many times they take the ball out of KJ was cooking there in the first half. He had 13 points there, and they just took the ball out of his hands multiple times, and I didn't understand it. And then defensively, it just doesn't make sense.
It looked like they were nervous he was going to start turning over the ball, and they gave it to Will Riley, and that cooled KJ off.
No, there's no question. I think maybe that's it. I don't know. I can't tell you why.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm guessing myself.
But they've also had Boswell running a lot of those ball screens, and Boswell he took one shot tonight. He's almost a non-factor offensively now, because he's shooting so poorly from three. He's not going to shoot a three, so you don't really guard him outside the three-point line, and you don't have to come out and play him. And I don't know. I just don't. This is a team that's a little bit broken right now, and I know they beat UCLA, but if you count, they're a team they haven't put together. When's the last time they played 40 minutes? Like Oregon?
Yeah.
Seriously, this is a team. Indiana, I'll give them Indiana. I thought they were awfully good against Indiana over there, but this is a team that has to. You're not going to win playing 20 minutes. You just can't do it against good teams, and they just lose their edge, and maybe it's fatigue. Last year, I know Brad always says they're college kids, and that's fine when you have Terrence Shannon and you have guys who are 23 years old and guys who've been through the wars. But 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids who have never done this for this many games, they've never played this many games, had this kind of grind, they are not going to hold up. And they played KJ too many minutes. And so I'd rather see him play 30 minutes and then have the ball for 30 minutes. So I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'll tell you what, Mike, let me comment. Brad made a comment about, and I've noticed it too, Kylan Boswell, either somebody says something to him or he's figured it out himself. He's not launching threes. So if he can figure it out, why can't the other guys figure that out? Or they tell that to the other guys? Because honestly, he's not doing it. He's just not launching bad shots because they're not going in. He's playing hard, but I don't see everyone else is just letting it fly.
Yeah, I can't say anything because it was frustrating because we kept watching. Like I said, Morez was having time inside, and when KJ was driving in the first half, he was causing havoc. And Rickhouse, I know that he's the whipping boy of the day. I thought he played pretty well outside of his 3-point performance, but he was when he did his booty ball, he was doing fine. And it's like, why not run that more often? He was 3 for 4 on that. Brad, you got any thoughts on this?
I don't understand it. He's 0 of 6 from 3. And here's the thing, he rebounded well. I thought his defense was actually a positive. I think he was on the plus minus. I want to say he might have been +2 or -2. He was right there, 14-point loss. When he wasn't on the floor, they weren't as good. What was he?
He was -2, Brad. He was
-2.
He was the team leader, although in the very bottom, team, 1 minute for team was at 0, whoever team was.
Well, team did well. So,
team was awesome.
Team was their best player. So maybe that was when, I don't know. But, yeah, here's the thing. I thought here's the thing. Hemrickhouse is supposed to be a 3-point shooter. He's become now he's a rebounding defender. I don't get it. What is going on here? We were talking like the first 10 minutes of the game, 8 minutes on there, and we were on press row. I thought he's playing with confidence. The whole team just looked like they were ready to play. They were confident. And then every time things go against them, you can see them, they just lose it. And they just start doing, and we're going to, like something bad happens. And so what we're going to do is watch, I'm going to go make a 3 off the dribble, step back, fade away, whatever it is, to try and make up for the fact that something bad happened on the other end of the floor. And that's just not the way to do it. Instead, hey, let's get a good shot and attack the rim and get something inside it. And here's the thing. When you attack the rim and then throw it out and shoot a 3, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with those. They're just much better shots. But they took a lot of quick threes. Like both KJ and Humrickhouse took just dribble up, pull up threes that after, and they were, it's not like they were on a heat check. They were on a cold check. It was an ice check. It was like, it doesn't make any sense. Like sometimes you just
nobody says anything to them. They're still doing. And I don't, Brad, nobody knows what the answer is because I'm going to tell you, I don't know. We all have our own opinions. I don't think Michigan State guarded them from the 3. I just don't think they did. They let them shoot it.
Yeah, they're not going to extend past 3 points because why do it? Yep. Why would you do it? I don't know. That's the thing. Like, when they hit threes, they start off, I think, 3 for 4 from 3. When they make threes, you see what happens. They just blow people out of the gym. Yep. They hit some threes, they're going to blow you out. But again, this team is, I think it's 14-1 now when they just make 28% from 3. All they have to do is make 28%. So it's stunning that they don't understand that. And they just, I don't know, what did it finish up? Right around 22 or 20% from 3?
21.2, Brad.
Okay, yeah.
After a stellar 6.3% in the second half.
Yeah, 1 for 16 in the second half.
Yeah, 1 for 16.
That's bad.
You realize, Brad, that you and I could go out there and outshoot that?
Here's my thing. I can shoot it left-handed and make more than that. It's stunning. And I know, yes, there's defense, whatever. Some of those are wide open, though.
They're wide open.
I mean, there were a couple of those. There was nobody near them. You got to make those. I mean, you got
to. Brad, you don't take those because that's why there's nobody near you.
Yeah, I had a kid who couldn't shoot when he was in junior high one time, and I told him, there's a reason you're open. So don't shoot. So yeah, that was Illinois. That's every guy.
This was the funniest comment that made me laugh when I was reading through it. The Illinois strategy is to dork a guy into scoring 27 points. I'm sorry. That just made me laugh because, oh, wait, you know what? Hey, William, Kohler only had 23, okay? So be precise.
But everybody has a career night. Somebody's always going to have a career night. I think coming into that game, he was 8 for 27 or something like that.
He was shooting 25%.
Yeah, he was 8 for 32 coming in. He was 4 for 5 from 3 tonight.
I feel like the Washington Generals against Meadowlark Lemon. There's always one guy who turns into Meadowlark Lemon.
Can I say this? And I know people are going to talk. They missed their last 19 shots, and the offense, and this and that. My biggest issue is still the defense. They let guys. I thought the defense was pretty good early in the season, but of late, it's been bad. Remember we talked early how you have all these guys, and it's amazing they're playing this good a defense with all these new guys.
Yeah.
They're not new anymore, and the defense sucks. I'm not trying to. It's bad. They've dropped from like a top 10 defense to like something in the 30s defensively.
But I don't know if you
because they don't stop anybody. And the other thing is, and it's because there's always a guy. These are college basketball players, and I realize that. Okay, is Jackson Kohler going to consistently make 4 out of 5 from 3? No, he's not, because you leave him wide open. He's exactly, but it's happened every game. They have to do more defensively to make things hard on people. They don't put any pressure on people. They just let them run their stuff and let them do their thing, and then they run guys off screens. It's okay. Well, your analytics don't work if they're getting wide open 15-footers. And 70, because here's what do you do when you play Illinois? What do you do the 2 days before you play Illinois? You practice your guards dribbling off ball screens and shooting wide open threes or wide open pull-up jumpers. And you practice that for 2 days before you go in there. Those dudes are all ready for that. There's nothing surprising, nothing shocking. So that's what they practice. So you can say that analytics, this and that, but they haven't been able to get stops, and they don't do anything to keep them from running just what they want. People just go do what they do. And I think the Big Ten is the best scouted league in the country, and Illinois is not doing a great job against that. And I think last year you had a force of nature in Terrence Shannon, and you've had other guys. You just put 3 banners in the State Farm Center over the past, guys who played the last 5 years?
Yeah.
And we tried to do 3 banners.
Well, one of them's upside down, which is another just clown show.
But you know what, though? The Illinois, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Illinois is across all the highlight shows for collapsing and having the upside down.
Yeah.
And letting Izzo break the record.
I know.
Yeah.
Even the
and here's the thing. Let's be honest. What game are they winning? They're going to have to figure it out, because they're at Wisconsin.
Yep.
They're playing Duke. They've got Iowa at home. Iowa will score 411 points, so they just need to outscore them. And then they've got they're at Michigan, and they've got Purdue at home. Are you picking them in any of those games except Iowa?
Nope. I'm not even picking against Iowa, because you just said it. I know you were being sarcastic. They lead the league in scoring. I'm not picking them against them. Brad, just real quick, you made a comment about the analytics. Michigan State shot 49% from 2 tonight and 42% from 3. You're right. They're not guarding. 49% from 2? And then on the flip side, Illinois shoots 38%. They're 24 of 63 and 21%, like we said 3 times, from 3. It can't happen.
And the other thing is, how can you have all those guys? What I don't understand is okay, so let's say those guards are attacking the rim, and there's still got to be something. Ivicic is not moving well with his ankle. But here's the other thing I don't understand. Like, those guards are attacking the rim. If you're not guarding the big guy, you're going to let them shoot. You're going to stay in the paint. And they stay in the paint on Fears. They stay in the paint on other guys, Carr, whatever. How do you not defend the rim if you've got 3 big guys down there? But they're so slow reacting. Now, when Merez is in, it's obviously different. I don't know. It's just bizarre to me. I just don't know. This team, I just can't. And I think the coach staff's in the same mode. It's very difficult to get a gauge on what's going to work and what isn't going to work. What are we doing with Draven Gibbs-Lawhorn? How does he only play 3 minutes tonight?
And Trey White not get in. That's okay. Right now, Trey
White went from starting to never seeing the floor. And I get they were sick. And sickness, and they're not sick now, and I just don't get it. And I thought Draven gave him good in 2 minutes. He made a few hustle plays in the first half, and maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe they're not right. I don't know. But
Izzo's playing 11. Izzo's playing 11 guys.
Their body language is awful right now. We can sit here and let's get a little pound and start cheering. And I'm telling you, I'm not blind. I still have my 2 eyeballs. I know for a fact Draven is pissed. He walked out there in that court. I think he was embarrassed. One time he came in with 12 minutes 11 seconds on the clock. You know why he came in? He subbed somebody out because there's going to be a media timeout, and he knew he was going back to the bench. I don't understand it. Jake played great, but both of those guys, you look at the stretch that Trey White had before Oregon, and the game he played great. Draven is going to bring some energy. He's going to guard. He's going to make things tough. And here's what nobody has said all night, and I was hoping somebody would. Brad hinted at it. Kylan Boswell's not doing anything. I tell you right now, if you give Draven Gibbs Longhorn those minutes, he's going to score, and he's going to rebound, and he's going to guard. How many points? Let's see here, Mike. How many points did Kylan Boswell have tonight? 0. And played 29 minutes. That's an issue.
And, Kat, I do have to correct your percentages. Michigan State did not shoot 49% from 2. They shot 50.
Oh,
so
my God.
Worse than what you thought it was.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to help. Just trying to help.
Thanks, buddy.
And by the way, guys, just so you guys know, Illini guy Larry is feeding us data as he's listening because he's writing a story, so he can't jump on here. He's texting us that Illinois is 4 for 6 since January 1 or 2-1. Yeah, it's just, it's not good. Look, the bottom line is you have to figure out what you are as a team. And when you're in last place in an 18-team league at 3-point shooting, you're not a 3-point shooting team. So when this team plays inside and out, I would argue they really are a Final Four level
Hang
team.
on, Mike. They are a 3-point shooting team. They're just not a 3-point making team.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know what? All right. You caught me on the use of the English language there.
Mike, what did you say about Final Four? I want you to repeat that again, please.
I'm just saying, when they play inside out, they could be a Final
first
Four team.
Four. He meant first four.
Because I can only think of 2 or 3 games where they shot the lights out. And I'm lying. I can only think of one. I know you guys can correct me. The Oregon game. What was the other 2 games that they shot the ball well? Because I don't remember.
Chicago State, Indiana.
Oh, they did. Indiana. Was at Indiana and Chicago State. Aren't they not? I think they're going to be a 2 seed this year.
Chicago State's going to be a 1 seed.
They're a 2 seed in the game against Illinois.
Yeah.
Jiminy Christmas.
But look, this team, I don't know what that Underwood can't do to show them a film and say, look, when we were playing inside out, we were up 31-15. And that's the other thing, Brad. I take a lot of crap because people are like, I can't believe you are worried about throwing knockout punches in the first half. Illinois has had 3 or 4 or 5 games where they could have knocked teams out in the first half, where they've had sizable leads, and they fritter it away by the half, and then by the end of the game, they're looking at an L.
Yep. No, it's sad. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. I just don't get it. I'm sure there's something we're missing.
We're being nice. We're being politically correct. We're being nice. They're not performing. That's the high road. They're not performing. They're just
you're looking at this. We've talked about this. You've got, everybody loves Morez. You've got a guy who's a lottery pick. You've got another guy who's, late first, early second round. Another guy who's they're talking about getting drafted. And you're not even – here's the weird part. I'm going to have to stay at the Big Ten tournament an extra day because they may be a play-in game in the Big Ten tournament right there. They
might not get in. You talk about
I think they've already got enough wins to get in. So
I'm being sarcastic.
The Big Ten. But here's the other part. If they lose out, and like we're talking about, the only game that that I look at right now and say they should beat Iowa. But Iowa is a team that can score, and so they're always dangerous. But, okay, so you should win. That's fine, especially with, I think, with Freeman out. But, okay, so let's say you win. Let's say you go one. They'll have the 18 wins. I think that'll get them in. But if they're 17-14 heading in the Big Ten tournament, where do they fall? This is a team that they're going to be like, they might be 11 seed playing game. That's where you're at, and you went from a team that people were talking about as a 3 seed just a few weeks ago. Now they're talking about them being a 2 or 3 seed a few weeks ago. Now they're talking about them being a team that might be on the bubble.
The thing that's interesting to me, Brad, is
now they're going to go beat Wisconsin by 20, just so you know, just because we're talking about it.
I'll tell you, the thing that's interesting is last year, it took Illinois 5 or 6 games when Terrence Shannon came back to get their sea legs as to how to play together as a group.
Yeah.
And they had their little injury thing where, KJ was out a little bit, and then you had, Ivasic out a little bit, and they've just never gotten their legs back. And I don't know. And now now he went from mono to a bad ankle. So it's just they somehow haven't got that spring back that we saw last year. And I'm worried they're not going to get it back because the time is running short, and there's no easy, as you guys have said, there's no easy games, which means you're going to have to figure out this against some of the top competition in the country, and that's generally not the best way to figure things out.
Mike, you are what you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
I
are
agree.
what your record is. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we look at it and say, this guy's this, and this guy's really good. And this team is, and I've said this a couple times the last couple weeks, this team is less. There are a lot of teams where you say the team is greater than like the sum of its parts, right?
Yeah, this is the reverse.
This is the
synergy.
opposite. It's
Yeah,
the
this is a
opposite. This
reverse
team is
synergy,
not,
yeah.
they don't click. They really do. And I say it, they really do remind you of that 22-23 team, where it's like they're good enough on a day, like that team beat Texas and they win some games. They go up and didn't they win at Michigan State and Michigan that year? Was that the year? I mean, it's just, but they're just not, I don't know. They're not good enough, and they're good enough to beat you on a given day. That's why their team, wherever they fall, they could win a game in the NCAA tournament because all they have to do is shoot 28% from three, and they're 14-1. The only loss is to Alabama down in Birmingham. So you make some threes, they win. But do you trust that they're going to make 28% from three in multiple games?
Not more than one.
I do not, because they don't shoot that. They're shooting worse than there. It's brutal. It's just an abysmal thing. And against a team like Michigan State who rebounds, you can't just throw it up and chase it because they're going to the boards too.
Yeah, and Larry just put out, just for folks here, we're getting fed things from Larry. Illinois was a projected 2 seed after the Indiana game. Now they're trending toward a double-digit seed in both the Big Ten and the NCAA. Now, the thing is, that's a hard needle to thread. So I guess we should be proud. It's one of those. Ked's gonna drop out here. Brad, do you have any final thoughts? Ked and I have been beating this dead horse for over an hour now, but any other thoughts that you didn't get out in the anguish of us?
Hey, you know what? Kudos to Terrence Shannon Jr. What a fantastic player. Thank goodness he didn't go to Michigan, and Michigan didn't admit him. But he's what a fantastic couple years he had at Illinois. Great player. It was great to see him get honored. Too bad they screwed that up a little bit tonight too, or a lot of it, to the point where basically Whitman has to come apologize in the press conference. But kudos to Terrence. I thought he's just a great player, great kid.
And he's getting some minutes now. And he's
finally getting to play, and he's productive too, because who knew? But so kudos to him. But this is a team, like the hard part about it is that this team does have some potential, or else nobody would be upset. You know what I mean?
Right,
and
I agree.
In today's era, like it would be different. Like I would look at this team totally differently in the old days.
I totally agree.
Because you would look at it and say, okay, next year they're going to have Will Riley's going to be a sophomore, and Merez is going to be a sophomore, and Draven's going to be a junior, and KJ's a one and done, but we're going to bring these other guys back, and they're going to get better, and we're going to have this team. But again, it's not like that. You're going to have 10 new guys, 9 new guys, whatever it is. Do you see Trey White or Draven coming back if they're not going to play? Why would you come back? I don't know that there's a guy I look at except Jake Davis and say, that guy will be back. I don't know. It's hard to see that because they've got some issues that they're going to have to clean up here. And it's hard to watch. I think that's the worst part about it is if you're looking at building for the future, then you can do this. But everything's a 1-year run here. And that's the reality. They have to find a way. I think what Brett Bielema has done with the ability to mix portal guys with 4-year guys. I know football's a different sport, but they have to find a way to mix some guys staying if they want to have consistency. One of the things that helped them last year, they brought in a lot of dudes. They brought in old dudes like Damask. They brought in Guerrier and et cetera. But they also had a guy like Terrence Shannon who's in his 2nd year, Coleman Hawkins in his 4th year. You had some veteran dudes that had been there. And I think you have to have a mix. if you want to be successful. And I think they have to find a way to do that.
Yeah, you got to figure out a way to get Morez to stay. He's the first time that dude's so tough that when he fell down onto the floor, I was more worried about the floor because Morez is just a badass. Goodness gracious. You know, you better figure out how to keep him because that guy is just a phenomenon. And of course, we said back in 2019 that Illini fans would love Morez after seeing him in high school at that age. And he has lived up to every expectation that we've had. There's a lot of people who are disenchanted with Brad Underwood. I will say that Brad Underwood has returned this program to the island of relevancy. I don't know that I would say Brad Underwood is the issue, but I will say that the roster construction, if you're going to try to get 10 guys every year, you got to figure out how you're going to play the ones you get because you won't get 10 every year. So that's a challenge. So Brad is out of range now, folks. We're getting out of time here. Coleman Hawkins, look, I just think Coleman and the coaching staff both needed a fresh reality. I love Coleman Hawkins. I'd love to see him here, but I just don't know if that was going to work in any universe. So, folks, we will be back, of course, with the Wisconsin game. And that one is coming up on, scarily enough, we will see that one, have that coming on Tuesday. We will be live during the half and live after the game. These things could get tougher and tougher if things don't turn around. But this team also has the talent to make it happen. That's the rare moment. That's what you get with this type of talent on a team. They've just got to play together. And that comes down, in my opinion, to the players being willing to surrender to do what the coaches are saying, and the coaches being willing to apply consequences if people aren't doing what they want. And certainly this 3-ball shooting yourself out of games has got to be old at 8 losses. And for Brad Underwood, he's had a pretty good record the last 5 years. It's got to be painful to get to have these L's, and he's going to have to figure out, you've got 2 players who are talented that are on the bench doing nothing, and you just have to wonder, what you can do to get them going. And this team has an opportunity to be good, but boy, you're threading the needle awfully thin right now, and it's going to be harder and harder to get that opportunity. So we don't want to be too negative, but at this point, we are going to call it an evening. We will be back Tuesday night. Of course, folks, if you like what you got, go to IlliniGuys.com, hit the subscribe or the register button, and become a member. You can get Ked and Brad with their thoughts on the message boards. A lot of stuff that we can't talk about. It's behind a paywall because our subscribers are the ones who allow us to go to Duke to cover games, who allow us to go to the Big Ten tournament. So having more subscribers makes for a better community and more people who are talking and interacting on the message boards. And it also allows us the ability to cover the sport, particularly football, basketball with 2 really good teams, baseball and golf. And we try to cover everything we can, but it allows us to cover those better and with a thoroughness that makes it fun for Illini fans, and they get some extras other than what they would get off of the internet. So we would love to see you there. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter as well. So do that. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, IlliniGuys.com, there as well for our content. Until next time, folks, go Illini.